Okay, so in functional range conditioning and kin stretch, and basically all that we do, we emphasize rotation to death. That's a big focus of everything that we do. When we do ankles and knees and shoulders and hips, it's rotation from rotation. That's almost all of what we do, except the spine. And it's not to say that we don't train that, but it's not our first priority, which is why we always do our spine and neck classes from a flexion or extension based position. And that's because the system of the spine is more of a segmentation system. It means that the joints themselves move independently, and as they do that, they create space, and that space is what allows rotation to occur. So it's a second priority or second order thing that happens as a result of flexion and extension. And I'm going to demo that with Shay so you can kind of see that visually. And I'm not going to go into the depths of why it happens or what you can do necessarily. It's more to show you why we do it. So if Shay turns her head to the right, just like this, and Shay's neck is pretty solid, she gets rotation of the head. Okay. But how did that actually happen? On some level, what happened is C1, or depending on how it works, okay, we won't get into it. C1, let's say the top of the spine, starts to initiate this turn. Okay. Well, C1 actually doesn't move all that much. Okay. And C2 doesn't move all that much. It only moves a little bit. And C3 doesn't move all that much. And C4 doesn't move all that much, but it starts to move. And then what happens? Well, now Shay's head, which was originally facing forward, is now turned all the way to the right. So the spine is actually more of like a DNA or a coil, right? It starts to turn, and as those unlock, you start to see more rotation happening. But let's just see if we get stuck, what happens. C1 turns, but C2 doesn't. C2 is stuck, but then C3 turns, okay? And then C4 is stuck, but then C5 turns. Now, that's not exactly what happens, okay? And there's also 7 vertebrae in the neck, so we're just missing some blocks. But you see how her head now is stuck here, okay? So the goal is that if we can get the spine to go through better flexion and extension, and we create space for those to move through those ranges of motion, things like rotation or even lateral flexion or lateral extension, those will open up as a result of that. And then that's when you would train those things after. So you can turn your head all you want, but if the limiter is flexion or extension of the spine, or the T spine, if you're trying to twist and you keep twisting and nothing changes, and you're never addressing the root cause, then that is why you keep running into issues, and you can rotate yourself to death, but you're not going to fix what's inherently wrong or what's compensating through the spine. So that is why we focus so much on segmentation, from lumbar to thoracic to cervical, all of them.